Here's our banner that's been distorted using the image warp feature of CS2. It looks a little flat at the moment, so let's add some texture to this using the texturizer filter. And there we go. So far that looks far too strong. We could fiddle with the settings, but it's a lot easier to press Shift Command F or Shift Control F to bring up the fade filter dialog. We can now reduce the opacity of that filter down to, say, 50%, and that's a lot more convincing. Now let's add some folds and wrinkles to this banner. We'll use the Burn tool, set to Highlights mode, at an exposure of around 50%. If you're not using a graphics tablet, start with a lower exposure so that you can vary the amount of the shadow more easily. Start in the corner and draw a loop that goes down through the banner and back up to the other corner. And there's our first shadow. To make this more convincing, we can switch to the Dodge tool and add a highlight above it. But rather than picking the tool from the toolbox, let's press the Alt or Option key instead. That will give us the Dodge tool temporarily. And now we can paint our highlight above that shadow that we just drew. Now release that key and use the Burn tool again to add another fold below the one we just drew. And once again, Option or Alt for the Dodge tool to put a highlight above it. Carry on down the banner, adding alternate lines of Burn tool and Dodge tool to get the folding effect. Fairly soon you'll get the idea that the text is wrinkling as it rolls over the folds in our banner. In fact, the text itself isn't being distorted at all. It's simply the shading that gives us that impression. There's the first application of our folds, and it's worth going back over some of the shadows just to strengthen them up and give a better impression of the three-dimensionality of this banner. And there we go.